America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up we've got public comments. Anybody that would like to join us at this time for public comments? Jane?
Hello, I thought maybe you missed me, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back.
I'm going to talk about a couple things quickly. A little bit of history. The first meeting I attended, a gal from Rockport, who was in this room, was spouting off several times about how great wind turbines are. They're no bother, they're only positives, that kind of thing. Mainly, they bring in lots of money to the county and the schools, and the absentee landowners. No, she didn't say absentee, she didn't mention them, absentee landowners, but the county and the school. And that's what we've been hearing a lot of. I feel like there's a lot of people in Shenandoah that are all over the turbine industry because they're looking forward to some money they might get for their school. But then, there were a couple KME articles in August that were kind of interesting. The first one was two articles in the KMA last month about Rockport. The first one was they're going to switch to a 4-day school week. They're having a hard time retaining teachers, and they're going to make the days a little bit longer and 1 week longer at the end of the year. And I added that up, and it didn't equal to what it is now. So I'm not sure if they're happy about losing those extra hours. But that doesn't sound like a real successful school if they're trying to figure out how to get teachers in and shut down some of the days of the school. And then the second one about Rockport was they're going to do a $6 million bond issue because they need a new facility and elementary updates. And my question is, what happened to all that money they got from the turbines? Remember, down in there they have 300 turbines. So I was at the Fremont County Board of Supervisor meeting when they voted and pointed out, don't think that you're going to get the money that county's getting because they have 300 turbines and each of us will have less than 30 or around 30. So if their money's not really doing it, I'm pretty sure the money from turbine industry here in Page County won't do it. The other thing is transparency. 2 weeks ago I came and I talked about transparency. And the people at the county want transparency. And 1 week later on the agenda was, let's meet with just one supervisor and the lawyer. And that didn't sound like transparency to me, to discuss the decommissioning and the road use agreements. So to me, that was going the wrong way on transparency. I was just checking. I'm not going to ask you the answer, but at this point, but at some time, whose idea was it to meet? Whose idea was that? To meet with one supervisor and the lawyer? And what was the reason? I think I heard to speed the process up, but I'm not sure. But, Maria doesn't live here. Invenergy was going to get in this process somehow, which I totally disagree with. They don't live here. We live here. And we voted you three in to look out for us. And I just want to remind you, transparency is really important in an effort to look out for us. We need to know what's going on because we live here, we pay taxes here, and I don't want to bow to a lawyer or a big giant corporation. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Anyone else? Okay. This time, engineer update, and discuss M63 concerns with Tom Wagoner. For those of you who are not aware, he is not able to attend tonight due to some issues. And just know that, I believe they're getting ready to do the concrete work. Did I see that? Tomorrow. They're supposed to be here, and I can't tell you which group of guys, the concrete guys are. I just read that on the news. But I have no updates. I did visit with JD a little bit, and he was hoping to have some notes for us, but that is not going to happen. So I don't know if you talked to Lisa today, Ian, did she have any comments on engineering? Okay.
I talked to Lisa, and they've been working on the equipment's been arriving throughout the day for this project to begin working in the morning. That's why the press release went out to run a detour for about 4 hours tomorrow. The map is printed in the KMA article, or out on the PHAB. But JD get in contact with the office and throughout the day to make sure everything's still on target.
Any other? Okay. Next item up, probably a little bit ahead of schedule. We can start talking about it. Discuss approve using ARPA funds for second phase of Courthouse Tuckpointing. I think that's in the packet.
What about Tom here?
Oh, is Tom on? I'm sorry.
Tom's right here.
Okay.
Is this a meeting now?
Oh, Tom's here. I'm sorry. Tom, do you want to? I didn't see you over there. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. Go ahead.
Isn't going to be available.
Yeah.
He's not going to be participating in his own.
He isn't available to participate. No, Tom, he is not.
Yeah, I can give you just better one,
Okay.
For the record, I am Tom Wagoner.
Okay.
To start off on that 163 project, $3.26 million project, I notified JD at the very beginning of May about practices that were not, definitely not per plan. One of them was using equipment wider than the plan detail shows. That brings in some of that material on the shoulder, which is a high percentage of fine aggregate. That fine aggregate takes some of that bituminous material to coat. It also, with the wider equipment, the milling was done approximately 12 inches over center line. When you do that, you have to place that material back. So now your crown is not in the center as the plan showed. Also, when you come on the second adjacent side, now you're reaching over 12 inches over center again. So now you've got 12 and 12. You don't have a consistent mixture. And what I said to him, I said, definitely results in a loose or a non-spec final product. And that was, on May 2nd. And I said, that milling and mixing of a portion of that adjacent lane that was previously recycled does not provide a consistent mixture across the roadway. You're not getting proper slope at center line, and you're getting inconsistent depth. And I do have photos that show that. Also, I spoke with a recently retired owner of a company that had used that sub. And I won't repeat exactly what he said, but he had trouble. And I relayed that to JD just to, as an alert, heads up. And anyway, as that process proceeded, towards the end, when they were finishing, I did stop at the J20 and 63 intersection. And that one landowner, matter of fact, he contacted JD, which there was no follow-up. They had cleaned their equipment on his property, and I just stopped and said, the landowner doesn't want that. I've got 2 field entrances, which they ended up using. I did ask that foreman, I said, how are you putting the crown in the center of the road? And he had this wise grin on his face, and he said, oh, that's his job. And I said, is that the street operator? There's some streets on the back of the paper. It does the placement. You control the depth, the width, and the slope. Anyway, I said, is he the street operator? And the same, I would say, it's a smart grin. No, he's the roller operator. Well, I'm sure when they had their debrief that night over their favorite beverage, I'm sure they laughed about the Podunk, Page County, backwards hillbillies, that they really pulled some stuff on them. Well, he didn't fool me one bit, but apparently he got by the whole project doing what they did. There again, this was brought up on the 2nd of May. There again, you don't have uniform consistency, and that's what, it's hard to be perfect, but the closer you strive to be there, the better final product you're going to have. And it is disturbing because of my life history. You either don't care or you're pretty simple, one or the other. That's why you do things. You care, you don't care, or you just flat don't know any better. If you don't know any better, somebody better educate you. But when it came to the asphalt, I talked about there were areas that some people say fat as in excess, I'll say rich, bituminous material was visible in that cold in-place recycling. The time to fix that is right down in there. You don't put 2 lifts or layers of hot mix on top of that. Number one, heat does make bituminous material rise. It's evident out there. There's over 20 areas where that's bleeding through. I have repeatedly questioned Mr. King about that. No answers. I have repeatedly asked, are you going to core those rich or bleeding areas where the bituminous material is rising to the surface? Without coring, it's just a guess. What are the limits of that unacceptable payment? And it doesn't heal itself. It gets worse. So down the road, then, when there's channeling, rutting, it's an unacceptable payment, period. But anyway, it's just like there's no sense of urgency. As far as the horrible in the project, which on page 2 of the plans that everybody has, it shows EOP, which stands for end of project. And that detail clearly shows, I don't know if you can see, it's just about halfway in that page, but it's the rundown details for EOP. And it shows clearly where the cold in place recycling doesn't stop, where the first lift or layer of the hot mix or the asphalt concrete, cement concrete stops, and then the top lift stops. And anyway, it's a continuous, the top lift is a 300-foot. Photos have been sent to all 3 of the supervisors. When you come back from the end of the project, they're at the county line at about, I think, 54 feet. The string line, which is a DuPont monofilament not cheap stuff, stretched very tightly, loses contact with the surface, and starts to, the surface would be like a little under an inch and then immediately over an inch, over 3 inches, up to 7 inches. In my opinion, that is pathetic. And it's pathetic that it has been allowed to go this long. I said to Chuck earlier, I said, you get it off the road, the earlier you do, the hotter the temperature, the easier it is. It doesn't get any better, and so it's wrong. And I have said in an email, well, actually I did receive an email asking JD about that. And what I got in response was, I'm sure we're gonna, Gonna, do something. Now, quite frankly, I was not impressed. That's horrible. I don't know who you're talking to. You may look in the mirror and talk to yourself, but don't talk to me that way, because I think that is unprofessional. I think you're setting a new low standard for Page County. Is that acceptable to the Board of Supervisors? But anyway, after more asking, nothing, and was it 3 weeks ago? I'd have to go back. I didn't get that written down. Came up about, this dip. That dip wasn't there before. It's improperly placed pavement. The pictures don't lie. And I don't know, have you driven that road? Have you driven that road?
I did today, this morning.
I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna ask you, because I think you know what my response would say if you're telling me that's acceptable. I know you did say in that one meeting that you had calls, people talk about, they're impressed with the other 11 miles. Well, I'll tell you one thing, the FAA, if you land with the landing gear up, I don't care how long the flight and smooth that flight was, it's not going to be acceptable to them. Period. That's maybe not the wisest or the best comparison, but it is. It's the end of the project. When we talk about, I call it a scab patch, because you are going to scab, you're going to end up laying thin onto that concrete. There's risk, very large risk, when you can have that asphalt pop away from that Portland cement concrete. It's old, it's polished, but there's 7 inches there. You do not play 7 inches. You do not get a compacted track right. You can't even roll it down properly. You don't do that. That's not even engineering. And also, then what if it turns to crap? What if I'm concerned about it? What if another taxpayer is concerned about it? Oh, we're in Montgomery County. Are we going to talk to you? Are we going to go to Montgomery County? Are you guys going to sign off on something with Montgomery County? And you do that, you're going to have to put a lot of rock in that intersection. You're going to have to do shoulder rock. You just open up Pandora's box. If you think that you're going to do some kind of little quickie cover-up and extend it into Montgomery County. Now, I'm sure you wouldn't let the windows that's being replaced in this building go that way. You wouldn't spec vehicles, you wouldn't spec equipment, and would allow that to be done. And when I look at the first page, my goodness, I hereby certify that this engineering document was prepared by me or under my direct personal supervision, and that I am a duly licensed professional engineer under the laws of the state of Iowa. James King, 21st of September, 2021. And then I see there's 3 signatures: Chuck Morris, Jacob Holmes, Alvin Armstrong, approved, Board of Supervisors. Can any one of you 3 tell me, was there any type of addendum to this document prior to the beginning of work in April or May of 2022.
Not to my knowledge.
So then, since there's no addendum, which would be an item of additional material added to the end of a book or a document, typically in order to correct, clarify, or supplement something, and that is standard. They will have special provisions. You know, you get the plans on a project, and then there's another, however thick it could be, but it's special provisions, and it contains addendums. I guess I will say right now, I will not be quiet. If somebody wants to come up within the last 3 weeks, well, there's a dip. Really? No, there wasn't. And I guess I would like to point to one thing on the plans, which I don't have that page, I didn't copy it off, but it is what I received on May 13th. JD, sent the plans to me, and I was asking him, and he said, I'll just send him some plans. And I think there's 560 some stations. A station is 100 feet. Starts at the south end, increases as you go north. And I'm close here. But anyway, on the plans, it clearly states that I can find it here. I've got it. Anyway, what it says is up to station 200 and something, so there was no broken or sunken. I forget how it stated that exactly. I guess I don't have internet, so the PDF's not coming up. But anyway, it clearly states that there was no broken or sunken concrete in that south part of the project. Or excuse me, there was, but on the north end, there was not any depressed or sunken broken concrete. There again, that was man-made by improper procedures being followed in the placement of the material on the project. And I guess what I'm saying is right now, get it right, do it right. Otherwise, you're saying, well, you Podunk Page County residents, this is the best we're going to give you. You don't deserve. And so then really, what does this document mean? Should it be written on paper that's more septic tank digestible? I mean, this is pathetic. Is there any answers to my question?
Well, John, all I have to say is that your passion for this is unsurpassed, and I appreciate your passion. What I know about building a road, the knowledge I have about building a road, we can put in a thimble and enough of those adult beverages for the crew that you said probably went out and had some. I know that JD has stated to us in public meetings and has answered your question that he's going to fix it now. How he fixes it, I don't
That's the $1 million question. You will not answer.
In the meetings, didn't he say it was with asphalt or Montgomery County? I kept asking. I think that's what the answer was. He said it was Montgomery County with asphalt.
I don't know that.
You're making a complicated situation just because something wasn't done right. You make it right. You don't enter into another Pandora's box on this. And why the signature, the stamp, no addendum. 21st of September 21. Where have we been? Hibernating? That's what I just said it's totally unacceptable to anybody that would try to justify that. I would say there's a lack of leadership. And I know if your family member went kayaking and stand regularly, you would probably hear about them in that job. two, maybe three little areas that have, I'd say they're about approximately, maybe 3 foot long. They're not 4. And I don't even think 2 foot wide that are marked. And I'll guarantee you there's over 20 areas in that. And it's not just in the wheel track. It's actually even in the, I call it the quarter crown, is midpoint, center of the line. It appears more in the northbound, and, I'd say the JD, they started at J20, they went down to Highway 2, because of the length of the train, that's common practice, turn around, and went clear to the north end of the project, turned around, came back to J20, parked their equipment on somebody's property, and wasn't very happy about that. But anyway, I said to JD, I don't know, something happened. I don't know if they had a nozzle, something's going on, and they weren't getting a good uniform mixture. And it has raised its ugly head, and it is not going away. It is unacceptable. $3.2536 million. Would you accept that on your personal property? Unbelievable.
The right way to do this, to drain that, what they're gonna do, take it back 300 foot or farther, or just take it all out, or what's the right way to do it? Follow the plan.
Follow the plan that has the signature and the stamp. All 3 of your signatures are on it. So, y'all want to be engaged also?
I don't want to do it.
Maybe the Wagoner County, Page County people can dedicate that road to y'all. I mean, it's just, and I shouldn't say that. But I mean, I can just hear those guys talking. Like I said, the grin on his face, it's just like, you're wasting my life, and I just go off. But I got a pretty good idea what was going on in his head. Yep, we're done with the job. I got it. I pulled the wool over their eyes. So you have time to correct it now, and you haven't made the full payment. But yeah, we go ahead and strike it. I told JD, I said, if you fix it before you put the shoulder rock on. No. We just go ahead and put it on. Shoulder rock on the plan, it shows 6%. The rock out there is only 2%. We've had conversations in the past about rock that was placed 3 years ago on that. It was too wide, it was too flat, kept the water on the road, kept that water corralled or channeled, developed a lot of energy, and it kept wide and deep. I've got photos. In one email, you told me that the farm equipment was going to take that over the summer. Well, I don't know who told me that. I don't have it in their face. Also, I said to JD, what about these wings? What are you going to do on this? It's flat. Some places inverted. Well, we can adjust it. That didn't happen. Then I came back the next year, and I think it was 2 years ago. That was in 2020. And I even had emails with Chuck. We got rock out there. It's 11 feet from the edge of the shoulder. Chuck's response was, JD said he's going to use a retriever. Well, the term retriever, it's a one-way disc. It brings up deer carcasses, old refrigerators, whatever's out of that ditch. How do you separate stone 11 feet out? And you'd have to come across a ditch up the forest slope. I didn't respond because I thought it was so lame. Life just doesn't happen that way. If you could walk on water, I guess maybe you could take that one-way disc out there and pick up every pebble. But I don't know anybody in this county that can do that. So anyway, part of these things, it is irritating, it's frustrating to hear things said to you that I question the thought process, if any, before the statement was made. And so here we are, we're talking about stuff that should have been fixed, and it hasn't been, and we're still talking. We waste time. We waste time because there's somebody declines to act, do the correct and proper thing, and try and sugarcoat something. And as I said in that one email, too long don't make it right. And there's problems on that road, you sign off on that. Page County residents, their money takes will be used for the maintenance down the road. And so I guess, yeah, I'd like to know from Alan's the president, Chuck, you've been on here a long time, Jacob, you've been on here a couple of years, where do you stand? Are you going to make, or are you going to instruct a county employee to walk the talk? This engineering stamp, this signature, your signatures, or are you going to tell me this document doesn't have to be followed? We just do whatever we want to do. I don't know, I guess you guys want to work for the president. I mean, there are certain things you have to follow, or and you just march off on your own beat. What about the county safety policy? I mean, you expect county employees to follow certain rules, or is it just okay for them to just march in my own direction to my own beat? And so there again, you three are paid by the county. The person who signed this document, that you three had faith in, and you signed it. Is that person, and are you three going to walk the talk? That's what I want to know.
I can say for myself, I want to plan a problem, period.
I don't disagree with that. It needs to be done correctly.
If you do, you have no respect. And I would say also residents of Page County on this matter. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Sorry I didn't see you over there, so fine. That's okay. Yeah, you left. Okay, next item is up is discuss approve using ARPA funds for the second phase of the courthouse tuckpointing for $132,786. I think in the folder have the bid from Andrews.
Can you review what the second phase involves? Is it all in there? Second and final, or second 3?
I can't remember if it's been pulled out, because I looked at the original email. I can see if I can pull it out from Gene.
East elevation, south elevation, west elevation repair, bell tower, masonry repair, all of that totals $132,000.
That was everything.
Well, the total price for the replace faulty breaker power wash tuck line.
Well, it needs to be done. It needs to be done well. I make a motion to approve the second phase using the ARPA fund. The amount of increases.
I'll second that.
Okay, any more discussion?
Has he was going to work on other buildings that?
They're hoping to start relatively soon, but I think it had a little bit of a hold up in Shannon on the last project. They're working there before they come here. They're still hoping to get the north side done this fall. I was watching, I asked him here a couple 3 weeks ago. They're hoping to like everything else, nothing's been going on in town, so.
I saw them in Council Bluffs here a week ago.
Oh, they moved up there because they were working in St. Mary's, so.
Yeah, just, West Virginia, yeah.
Okay. But it was probably going to be more of a next year project to finish it, what their plans were. I don't know if there's any dates on it.
So we're doing this, and assigning this money to this project, but it's not been paid until,
It could be,
it just doesn't,
yes,
Just be committed.
it's committed,
just
just,
committed, yes. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of using the ARPA funds for the second phase of the courthouse tuckpointing in an amount of $132,786. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. And I'm not sure, I think the next one is in there too, Jacob, about the discuss approve adding stationary window shades in the courtroom, $2,065. That is an additional, that they noticed, came up for discussion about the down second floor. It should be the one from mine.
That's the 7 shades, $295 shade.
Yeah. Be an additional, would be an additional up above what the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Is there anything on that that says, and that's just in the same time frame as the windows, everything else?
I believe so, but
Yeah.
Melissa had called and asked me about it, or informed me about it. I think that's what she did.
That's the one. Shades.
Okay. Be a motion to approve adding that to the window project?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor of adding the stationary window shades to the courtroom for $2,065 on the window project, signify by the fuel sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Again, I think you have over there, Jacob, the courthouse lawn for homecoming, discuss approved use of the courthouse lawn for homecoming. I didn't look through it all the way. I believe it's been filled out correctly. Back page. I think it would be the last 2 pages maybe. That is set up for, when is that?
September 16th, thank you requested.
Okay.
Cotton candy and sales. IJAG, Iowa Jobs for American Graduates. Good people are.
Okay.
It's called IJAG.
So I make a motion, we approve the courthouse lawn request.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. This needs to be. We need to. Okay. Okay, I'll let you send that on to Gene and the other. Okay, next item up is to discuss approve NACO Leadership Academy. I think you guys have all got in front of you kind of a little bit of description about the courses, what all that includes. I'm not sure if there's anything else. I know she visited with me about it a week ago or so. I think Jacob, she'd not be a little bit about it.
Yeah, I went home. Yes, she sent me some information, but I didn't understand quite what it was. So this is $1,645 per person that wants to do it.
Yes.
To take these online courses.
I believe they're all online, yes.
Yeah. after reading this and what it costs and it's per person and all these things, I don't know that it's not a good course, there are good courses, but I'm not really able to spend that kind of money per person to do that, I don't think.
Who was interested besides was anybody showing interest in doing this?
I don't think anybody else that I'm aware of has said anything to me anyway about it. So, just the head of the HR department would be the one doing it.
I mean, what are they gonna go over that we don't really go over at ISAC or at online, the resources, just extra, I've got the paper here,
Well, it looks like it's,
with a lot of those same kind of courses.
looks like it's same kind of track, but much more intense. You know, I think you can spend the better part of 2 days, maybe twice a year. This module done from September through December, mid-December.
It seems pretty expensive for online training. $1,600 for online courses seems expensive to me.
I don't know if they're good.
What's the ISAC registration that was paid for a couple of days, $265, I think.
I'm not sure how what it is. It's about $600 if you spend a night for a week or 2 nights. It's about $800.
Well, that's what we're doing right now, as our kind of our opportunity to go get these kind of things. Just to be out of a whole other.
ISAC never has anything like this. It's the only thing I can say, and this is very in-depth, what I can read about it.
I'm sure there's valuable things there, I'm sure, in my couple different times I've been at, like, a lot of networking is valuable and more valuable than I've learned. A lot of the courses can be somewhat fluff, and so the one by that, but some valuable, but I think it's too expensive for just one person not training. If it's a whole county, maybe, but that would still be a lot of money. That seems expensive to me, that's just my opinion.
Where would the money come from if we approve it?
I remember earlier discussion.
I don't recall asking that question. Do you know, Ann?
What does it cost us? This is another question we might not know where off the top of our head. What does it cost us to be membership? We're doing like a test of NACO.
They put $500 a year.
And they have some online, we've got resources with them online.
In fact, at first, I thought when she talked to me about it, that this was part of NACO, but I'm not sure that
It's not NACO.
I don't know that it is.
Professional Development Academy.
Colin Powell ran through NACO until his death, a leadership academy that obviously is not available. Maybe this is the replacement.
It's called PDS. It says NACO on the email, I don't know, maybe it is NACO.
I thought it was through NACO.
Well, maybe this is the Colin Powell replacement.
Well, NACO offers a scholarship for counties, which doesn't cost, but is it?
So that scholarship come off the.
It is NACO Leadership Academy.
Okay.
It looks to me like, I mean, if I'm reading this right, once I got this information, it's, if you do it in September, it's $850 scholarship off of 1600, comes to $1,645.
Right, that's what the scholarship.
So it's a
With the
$25
scholarship.
course.
If you wait, it's $2,000, $1,000 scholarship. So, I mean, the whole county NACO agreement was $500 from this. It seems awfully expensive per person, per participant. It seems like an extra, what specific use we're going to get from this in the county. Not just something nice, but like what are we buying for this exactly? Don't. It's just my opinion, it's too expensive for one participant to do something.
think with anything in training, though, sometimes that you hope the trainer, the person receiving the training can do some training on that too. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think we'll ever get everybody to a meeting at the same time, so that might be a challenge. I understand the cost have changed a lot from the classes I even had to take in food service. It's tremendous what things have changed in the last 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. So,
Well, I can see both sides. It is expensive. I think anytime you have an employee who wants to gain more knowledge and, you know, improve their professional skill set, I think that's positive. But I would see it maybe as, you know, they're gonna offer this academy every year. Not knowing where the money would come from, I assume it would have to come from local option or from ARPA funds. I would much rather see our department heads that would be interested in this type of training to put that in an annual budget to be reviewed in budget time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you know, wasn't not the only department head to have, which is HR, but everybody's managing their offices.
True.
So they would all have a valid, oh, I want to go back to it would be that $8,000-10,000 for fast. I just don't want to buy into that. I don't see enough here for the training classified men on these kind of things. You know, communication, collaboration, leadership mindset, positive engagement. I know those are so many things you can do online for free on those things. I don't know if this is worth $1,645 to take an online course. I haven't seen the value inside that house myself.
I think there's value in it. I would disagree with you there, but the funding source could be clearer and could be planned for better. I'd rather have it come out of an operating budget from a department that's interested in from local option or from ARPA funds.
Well, I think that might be the best way to budget it, yes, to come in and ask for it. Again, there's all kinds of free training online. This is not somebody coming in and working with us one-on-one, this is online training. So I'd have to see what it was specifically. Is that valuable? But yeah, I think the budget issue is something also would be a better way to do it. So, my opinion right now is I don't think it's time to do it.
is there a time, I can't remember on the email, is there a time?
If you get to October, it's more expensive.
Yeah.
So we know
So we still got it in a couple weeks.
Well, it actually starts next week, except for
That's true.
the module 1 through 4 is in that first week and a half of the period.
The scholarship is allowed through.
Yes. So it gets more expensive if you don't do it
That's
before.
money.
And I appreciate Melissa bringing this forward. I think she would benefit, I think the county would benefit. But this will be available again next year. I would prefer to see it planned in an operating budget. And then two, you know, the Colin Powell course was widely talked about. As you know, I talked to some people from Iowa who were involved in that course a couple of years ago. So it's just unbelievable. But now he's gone. This replacement is going to be as good. Let money see what kind of review you get.
Okay. Any more discussion? So you want to make a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor of approving it for $1,645 per person for the NACO Leadership Academy? All those in favor? Want to do a roll call or do you want to just do it? All opposed? Okay.
Opposed.
Okay.
Yeah, nay.
Okay. I'll vote. I'm going to vote yes. I do think it's of value. Okay. So put that down as a no. Okay. Next item up is to discuss and approve authorizing a board member to work with legal counsel to prepare the road use and decommissioning agreements. You guys each received an email back on August 30th from Maria Brownell, and she gave us 3 options of what she felt would be best. So I guess at this time, we kind of went through this and discussed the options before. Whether we designate a member, direct legal counsel to do it, or schedule closed session pursuant to Iowa codes to discuss strategy with counsel. So those were her 3 recommendations.
I talked with her one day, and the day I talked with her, she said she'd talk to you, and said she'd talk to you. I think we need to assign somebody. Again, to clarify a misconception, it's not a negotiating session between a member of our board and our legal counsel. Beyond, it's nothing beyond that. Investment is not involved in those discussions at that point. We understand.
Correct.
We would, whoever works with the, on behalf of the board, with Maria Brownell, could do that work each week, come back and report to the board what has been discussed and where the pinch points are or are not, until we get to an agreement that this board can become.
I don't see the value in that work. We have to do it all, so that's going to all really come back to overall points again. I don't really know even the way to argue when I look back now, I do not like the way that was worked. I think we all should involve in discussion on that to see what the choices, picking the top 10 of the 100 choices. So I think if we're gonna talk about the questions for, bring her in, answer some questions as they pile up, and we'll keep working on it together. I think that would be, because wherever it is, I mean, if I'm going on it or not, I want to hear every word that's said so I can understand both these things and think about it. So I see no use in it alone. I don't understand that. We do need to, I think, maybe look into her just for the specific issues stated in the closed session, just for those specific reasons, maybe work out a couple of things. Maybe on a certain day we have some other questions for too. We do a little closed session and some other questions we're working on that aren't closed session questions. To kind of stack them up and just call her once in a while as we work on this. But we do need to figure out some things there pertaining to energy trying to sue us, how we would handle certain issues that might affect them. But other than that, I think we can talk to her publicly.
I guess the question I have for you here is, Jacob, is we hired her at a good rate of dollars. I mean, we're spending good money to represent us. Do you have confidence that she's going to represent us?
I think she can answer questions, but I do know that what she told me on the phone was she wants to do whatever we want. I'll do whatever you want, whatever your board wants. Well, I might want different things than you do, and Alan might want different things than I do, so I'd kind of like to be there to see what is hammered out. Otherwise, even if we come in and update each other later, so it's going to be a futility. We're going to be going in circles, because you're going to come in here and say, well, I don't like that, I'm going to call me again and ask her my questions. It's like, we might as well just work through it, where all points of view are ironed out, and questions are asked. Because the way I understood what she told me was, you just guys need to tell me what you want me to do. What avenue do you want me to take?
Well,
she doesn't have an
between
opinion.
1 and 3 on that email is what she was wanting us to advise her on.
Yeah, how to basically go about this. One, we have to decide, if energy's trying to sue us, how we're going to deal with that. What avenues we want to take, there's one, right? And then how we want to go forward, with just drafting these things. Now, we've done some other ordinances together in here. We went through the community ordinance and the other ones. We've done the solar ordinance. We've worked on a bunch. We've worked on one. We've done that stuff. And we say, here's work on. We have different ones. We circle and highlight. We've done that. And we've even looked at some decommissioning. JD sent us, I know at least one, maybe 2 extra ones that I read over a while back. I just don't see I'm going to want to be there, so even if I'm not the one on it, I'm going to go, so somebody's going to have to tell somebody, maybe say we might be there in forum, and somebody's got to keep minutes, because I want to hear what it says, so I can at least compute all this.
Well, I don't think she'll operate that way.
She won't operate that way.
No, I mean.
Who does she work for?
It's a choice.
She told me,
One,
she
two,
told
three.
me, these are some ideas, and tell me what you want, what does your board want? I will do whatever you want, I'm your attorney. Where do you want me to go, how do you want me to do it? So I understood, or not, these are your choices, or else, I mean, I didn't do that at all. She said we had to be very careful in closed session that pertain to topics on being sued by energy, I can understand that. The other things are just ideas, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do it public, or do you want to do it all the time? I mean,
I asked her if she could be here tonight, she already had a commitment. If she could answer that question.
Yeah, that was
Clear,
your
clear, like, 1, 2, 3, what's her suggestion on that?
well, the word suggestion is also strong there, and she works for us. So I didn't get that in my conversation with her. I got very strongly, I will do whatever the board wants me to do. Okay. So
Well, I would make a motion, and let's have a board decision. I'll make a motion that we work one on the road use agreement with Maria, one on the decommissioning agreement, bring that information back to the whole board members, to the whole board for discussion, and if it has to be in closed session, then it has to be in closed session.
And the adjustments to be made at that time is what you're thinking. Okay.
well, there's no way if any tax dollars being spent, I can't sit there. So there have to be another meeting. It have to.
No, it does not.
If Maria Brownell is being paid by Page County, I will sit there and listen to every word that's said. You cannot spend, I've reached out on this, you cannot spend, I don't care how you vote, you vote if you want.
Okay.
You will not spend $1 of tax money without me being able to attend and listen, or have input. That's not right. You know that's not right. I wouldn't do that to you. That's not right.
But
They're all left to
there's no
be
decision being made in those meetings. There's
Money's being spent.
Yeah, money is being spent. Money's spent when we go to the landfill meeting. We don't go to them.
Yeah, well, I will attend this meeting that pertains to this, so I'm letting you know that.
Okay.
Are they gonna be secret meetings?
No, they're not secret
If
meetings.
there's a date and time and I want to know where it is, I will show up. The auditor will have to ask me their 15 minutes.
Okay,
Or somebody will, but they for 15 minutes.
all right. My motion includes that I'll work on the decommissioning agreement now with all of these.
Is this the offer, is this your opportunity to be transparent? Is that what this is?
We'll be transparent.
So you're gonna come back and tell me what you remember, what you hear that there is.
He said in number 1, that's the best choice in my view. And that's how I'd like to proceed. We hired her, and number 1 is what she suggested at the top, and that's what I'm.
Number 2 says, prepare written comments, recommendations on the current draft agreement proposed by Shenandoah Hills, which will be discussed in a public meeting. You know, want to do public meetings? Probably better.
I thought we didn't want to.
And I'm also going to say this, I sat here and listened to you promise people for, I don't know how long, it wasn't me promising, you promised them, that this decommissioning road is going to be something you were going to let the public have input in on, and you were going to really be open and work on it and make it real good, and real transparent. This is not looking at
It'll be
me.
transparent, but it's not a group decision. It is not a group decision. This board is elected.
Yeah, what about me? I'd like to be there. You're right now.
Okay, yeah, no decisions being made. He's gonna talk about road use, he's gonna bring it back to us.
Here's
in
how-
closed session
let me
and
say
say,
something.
here, what's the problem? He's gonna be the intermediary.
If I go to a fast food restaurant, kids,
Jacob,
I say, you can just, hey, listen, I'm calling on, you're trying to vote me out of the meeting. Let me tell you something. I can go to a fast food restaurant and give them 2 choices, both of which I'm going to take. So that's not a decision. No, it's not being part of crafting the decision. So no, that's not acceptable, and this is what's ridiculous.
Then motion to approve authorizing board member.
I won't second that motion. This is unbelievable. And disrespectful to the decision we all make.
It is truly unbelievable. I would agree with that.
Did
We
you
agree.
promise Marion Gibson that we
Yes,
would
you
have?
promised Marion Gibson, that's right.
Let's don't bring anything from outside in this. This is our discussion.
Well,
There's not going to be. I'm lost, Jacob.
you're lost.
There's not going to be any decisions made that in this discussion. This is the starting point.
So what is your problem with me being there sitting there? Then what's the problem with that? Then I'd like
Because
to
you're
hear
at
it.
forum, it has to be, then you.
Oh, so it's a pain to have a forum? What's the big deal with that? Why is that a problem?
It's gonna be more expensive.
All you have
Trying
is
to
more
save
expensive.
taxes.
How's it gonna be more expensive? I don't. But what is gonna be more expensive?
It'll be.
I want to know the answer to that. What's gonna be more expensive? This is not right. You know that. What's gonna be more expensive?
That motion is second.
It'll be more expensive.
How? Give me the dollars.
Travel,
Travel where?
travel to a meeting site.
What meeting site? Here? Courthouse?
Yeah.
I don't turn in mine, and even if I did, it'd be pennies. So what is the expense? Well, you act like I'm acting ridiculous. I'm trying to give you real answers here. What is the expense? We're paying the lawyer the same regardless.
And that's, I'm trying to follow the lawyer's recommendation in her.
We've got 3 recommendations here, and she told me she.
And I like, that was the one that was originally brought, and then after a week of no action, she came with these 3 choices.
We got this email from her. I talked to her, and I can't talk to you between meetings, so I figured this meeting we discussed how we was going to do it. So I figured having the information I got on the phone from her. Send this email.
Okay, so we're in discussion here, so
Yes.
what's your preference to do?
If it's about energy suing us because of a closed session.
It's not about investigation.
If it's, when we have that discussion, we do that in closed session, like she said, and then on the rest of it, we work on it, and we pile up questions as we have enough to qualify calling her, we call her and ask those questions. She gives us answers, we move on. If it's not about lawsuit stuff, we talk to the public. If it is, we do it in closed session. That's how we do everything else.
How long do you view this process?
As long as it takes the right. And I heard you say over and over and over, we're going to make sure this is ironclad.
Yeah, we are.
And we are by who? You with Alan, and I'm going to sit there when it's all done.
With help, who has a lot of experience in this field.
So when you're crafting these agreements, I have nothing to do other than respond.
No, you have a lot to do.
Well, what do I do? When you give me what you've thought of, then I give you my ideas, and you take it back to Maria the next week, or what?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I sit there with you and do it right then?
Because it's moving it forward. And when
That sounds slower.
That sounds
That would be slower. It's going to take extra weeks to do that. It'll
We're not going to agree, so let's go ahead and get a vote to approve, authorize the board member to work with legal counsel to prepare the road use and decommissioning agreements. And I believe the motion includes Chuck Morris to work on decommissioning, and myself to work on the road use. Is that correct?
Why do we have a lame duck second this?
True.
That is a motion.
Yeah.
I will not second that motion. That's terrible.
Yeah. I thought you already seconded.
No, I didn't second that.
So I thought you did, Jake, the first time you read it.
No, I did not
will
second the motion. I seconded the NACO thing.
I will second the motion.
As far as on the record, in their discussion now, we made a motion to second. For the record, I want to know that I want to dates and times of meetings, and I will be there. So we need to have somebody there.
Somebody called them energy on their buttons or dancing, aren't they?
So let's. So I want that on record. I want that known. So I'm not asking for it now. Go ahead and vote.
Okay, you want to do a roll call? Ken?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay, board communication. You had a landfill last week?
Yes, I called him out and talked to him about it. The farm lease is not going to be for rent this year because of the way
The farm lease?
because the way the contract is written. Actually, that's 1 more year. We've been looking at that. We haven't finished it all the way out, so it will not be for rent until next year, but it will be for rent in September of 2023. The landfill farm. You know.
We've been renting that before.
What's that?
We've been.
Whose farm?
Just no.
Oh, that was our
I attended a human service meeting today and a homeless committee meeting with Courthouse. And try to get some input from the mayors of our communities in Page County on how to deal with the homeless issue. And HUD was there, and a provider from Cedar Rapids. And HUD does not qualify couch surfing as being homeless. It's one category. But in Page County, I didn't bring my note, but in the last 12 months, there have been 29 families that would qualify for HUD being homeless. I said again, just going from one couch to another doesn't qualify. Yeah, I mean, those are part of those numbers. So, and homelessness doesn't look like it does in 10 cities here, but there's times that it look like. So there's an effort from multiple providers to try to.
How many different groups were involved in this homeless?
Well, the mental health disability region is there, Anchor Homes is there, Zion was there, HUD was there. No, Alonzi wasn't there, but they will be brought up to date. They will get a call.
DA.
Southwest Iowa Families was there.
And notification on the DA was involved at all.
Not at this point, but they could be.
And Jay, you've got Friday meeting, is that right? You're still planning on going?
I told her I would, my JD wasn't there, but,
Well, I don't know.
yeah, I would.
If you're planning on going, remind me to give you some cash, and I've got a shirt up there. John will have it.
Oh, sure.
I sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't worry about it, don't bring it.
Yeah, so
No.
if you're planning on going, I was going to give it to JD the other day, but I was just worried that it may not be there.
Yeah, I'll do it, don't worry.
I had nothing to report on that, so I don't have any upcoming meetings this week.
We got EMA. We had the deadline for EMA director was Friday. We have 6 candidates on this go around, and our executive board is going to meet Friday at 1:30 to review these candidates and hopefully make a recommendation of 1 or 2 of them to the entire commission.
Are they all 6 new ones?
5 of the 6 are.
5 of the 6 are new? Yeah. Anything else you want to do? Through claims, get through those.
I got them.
Okay. Do the motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. And the minutes.
I didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
I didn't either.
So I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay. The motion is second to approve the minutes as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jacob?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, how about that?
Okay.